Welcome to the Urban Pitch Podcast, The Beautiful Game of Life. Today we have a very special guest, professional soccer player, Christina Burkenroad. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that you can make it. You know, I think a lot of our fans that watch and listen to our podcast, they're obviously, for the most part, fans of the game. Mm-hmm. But it's still, the women's side of things still growing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How about you give us like a little, I want to go into your whole background eventually.
Yeah.
But before that, how about we just kind of start off with, where you're at right now, who you are, and a little bit about the women's game, right? Like where you're playing and all that.
Yeah. So right out of college, I played for Orlando Pride, got drafted there, and played there for a season and a half. Had a really cool professional experience. Unfortunately, wasn't getting too much playing time. So I wanted to grow as a player, and just talking to my teammates and whatnot, the answer was to go overseas. So I went to Norway my agent got me there for about 4 months, came back. It was a cool experience, but again, the women's league there isn't it's really good, but just the professionalism of it, the financial stability isn't completely there. Just a lot different than the NWSL. So came back home and got an offer to play in Prague, Czech Republic, for the Czech league, which there was 4 other Americans there. It sounded like a good... On
your team or in the league?
Just on my team.
Just on your team alone?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So, it sounded really ideal. So right. I kind of just took the risk and I've been there for the past year, and I've loved the experience. So
AC Sparta, right?
Yeah, AC Sparta Prague.
It's the top team in the league, or traditionally at least, right?
Yeah, traditionally top team. Yeah. The men's side of it is historical. They're super well known. We get the opportunity to play in Champions League, which is cool. So it's just a good setup. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you went from NWSL, right? You played at Orlando Pride for a little bit, and then you went, and now you played in Norway. Now you're in the Czech Republic.
Yes.
Right. Out of those 3, what is the defining kind of style? If you think about it in your head, how can you define the 3 or individualize it? How is NWSL like versus the one in Norway versus the Czech Republic?
Yeah. So the
NWSL, by the way, has huge levels too within it as well, right? Within teams and locker rooms and stadiums.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think competitively, from top of the table to bottom of the table, NWSL is just so competitive, so dominant.
Right.
But yeah, aspect of professionalism. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have some teams that are just, you feel like royalty, and then you have some teams that just, the facilities just aren't great.
Stadium,
right.
Locker rooms are just whatever, showers on.
Yeah.
How was Orlando?
Orlando was great.
Good,
yeah,
right?
Orlando is definitely one of the top teams that just treated their players so well. Right. So I was very fortunate to be there. It was kind of a disadvantage going from Orlando to going to a team in northern Norway.
Yeah.
Just because that the contrast of professionalism was just completely different. I think when I went to Norway, I realized that
you're not in America.
I'm not in America.
Yeah.
2, not all professional teams are professional.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going to Norway made me realize, okay, this is about the journey. This is my journey. This isn't about being the absolute best soccer player in the world. This is about figuring out more about who I am. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was just a complete 180.
What about the level, skill
flip.
level?
Skill level, the Norwegian league is actually really good.
Okay.
Quite a few Americans go over there. They have a few foreigners. Again, from the top of the table to the bottom of the table.
Larger disparity in skill?
Yeah, definitely.
How about the pay? Comparable, better, worse?
I'd say about the same.
It's about the same.
Maybe a little worse.
A little worse? About the same or a little worse than the U.S.?
Yeah.
What about the Czech Republic?
So Czech crowns, actually, when you bring them back to America, it's nothing.
Right. We're not even supposed to bring back over $10K in U.S. money.
Yeah,
right. So,
right.
So we're not doing that. Anyways,
so we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Money belt
I wish there was an issue when I brought money back.
Yeah. What's 10,000 crowns?
10,000 crowns. It's not much.
Okay.
I think it's probably $1,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So the conversion rate you're saying is not that great.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But how is when you have the money there in the Czech Republic?
It's definitely, I live well off on my own.
Okay.
It's really fun. It's good. Definitely have more means than I need.
Right.
But it's definitely not like I can't take care of a family. You know, I can't take care of anyone
You're
else.
You're not flush with cash out there by being a professional player.
Right.
Okay. But then you were saying earlier when we were chatting, you said like the season in the Czech Republic for the women's league, it's almost year round, right? You have a few months off, but it's year round.
Right.
So you're getting paid throughout the year.
Right.
Okay,
and
so
that's the difference. That's the difference.
Yeah.
The NWSL goes for maybe like 7, at most 8 months if you make the tournament. And then you have however many more months like unpaid, which is, I remember like my first off season, I spent all my savings, you know, just on like living accommodation, food, just like living on my own without being paid.
And while you were staying in Orlando, you mean?
I actually came back to California.
So you came back, okay. But you have 4 months off, 5 months off.
Yeah.
You need to sustain a living, right?
Exactly.
So you're using all your savings during that time.
Exactly. Okay. And I was like coaching here and there, but like, you know, I also like hired trainers. I like, you know,
gotta take care of yourself as a professional athlete, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest difference between like the Czech league right now and NWSL is just I'm so thankful that even on like the months we have off. Yeah. So we have 2 months off in a year for the league I'm in now. But we still get paid.
You still get paid during that month off.
So we get paid 12 months out of the year.
Oh, you do. So
which
you're
is amazing.
You're getting paid the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So monthly we don't make as much, but like cumulatively together, I think it evens out.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were saying that you played at Cal State Fullerton, right?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. Where did you grow up though?
I grew up in San Diego. So my mom passed away when I was little, and so when I was about 8 years old, my dad moved us to North Carolina for 7 years, and then moved back to San Diego when I was 15. So San Diego, North Carolina.
Right.
Yeah, San Diego.
Okay. Yeah, and then you tell us about your whole journey from high school to college, because it wasn't the natural path, right?
No.
It wasn't like a normal path. It wasn't like you played for the local club team out there, right? What's the big one that's down there?
Right, surf.
Surf, right?
Yeah, San Diego surf.
Yeah.
They're all pretty competitive now, though.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely didn't have like the common, you know, play club soccer, get spotted, go to college.
Because you didn't even play club soccer, right?
No.
Okay.
I didn't play. I guest played for like a couple tournaments here and there because like I had high school teammates that just like, hey, like my club needs a player. Do you want to play? So I was like, sure, yeah. But yeah, so when I moved back from North Carolina back to San Diego as a freshman, everything was normal with my family. I ended up like making varsity freshman year. Everything was fine. I lived with my dad. It was perfect. And then unfortunately, going into sophomore year, my family kind of like, I don't know, fell apart, I guess you could say. My dad turned to drugs, just like drugs got involved. Financial instability came across us, literally down to like 0, basically.
Wow. Okay.
Which is just like, I mean, it was just a flip, you know, all my life growing up, I had everything I wanted.
Up until
my dad
then,
made sure
it was
of that.
pretty stable.
Oh, yeah.
Childhood was stable.
Childhood was completely
So this happened in high
stable.
school.
I mean, I lost my mom, but like
Sure,
that's
tough,
that's
right, at a
tough.
young
But
age.
like it was just like it is what it was.
But as far as your living conditions, it wasn't like up and down. It was pretty stable.
Right.
And then when you came back to San Diego in your high school year, that's when all this kind of unfortunate thing happened.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you know, we couldn't pay rent anymore. My dad, like, I don't know, he failed drug tests. He couldn't keep a job. It was just like, it was sad. It was all depression, you know, for my mom passing away. So yeah, we couldn't pay rent anymore. We lost our apartment. We had a car, so we'd kind of just drive from like hotel to hotel all during my sophomore year. Unfortunately, like, I was at such a low because, like, I mean, for obvious reasons, but like also comparing my life to like my teammates' lives, you know, they were all in stable households, playing club. You know, everybody has their issues, but like it seemed from an outside perspective that everything was perfect for them and everything was falling apart for me.
Right.
So I mean, I continued to play soccer. Soccer's always been like my sanctuary, my outlet. But like, as far as like playing club, I, 1, couldn't afford it. 2, didn't think I deserved that like treatment, because I was like doing drugs on the side. I was doing drugs all the time. I was drinking all the time. I wasn't myself. I was letting my circumstance define who I was. And when in reality, you know, I would have handled things different, but I mean, no regrets. Like, it's fine. But yeah, so I was just at such a low, and I kept going down that path, and I was playing soccer. I was like playing pickup soccer. I was playing high school soccer, and like I was still excelling, but I wasn't playing with my full potential. And I was living with friends eventually. My dad actually moved back to North Carolina. He had to do his own thing, so like I was just kind of like
just on
left
your own?
alone, with like friends. Okay. Finding like homes on Craigslist to live, like rent a room.
That's crazy. So I don't understand. So like you're a junior at this time, or?
So all that kind of went through like sophomore junior year.
Okay,
yeah.
Sophomore, junior year. Okay.
Yeah.
So then how are you, if your dad's no longer, in the area, and you're just kind of on your own, how are you're just crashing at friends' places here and there?
So after like multiple hotels, multiple like just random places,
Okay.
I actually asked my friend if I could live with her and her family permanently. They said yeah.
And
they welcomed me in.
Were they aware of your situation at that time? They were aware of it.
Completely aware.
Wow.
They were like, yeah, of course, like come live with us. I wish you asked us sooner. I just didn't. But again, I like was still kind of going, like, although I had a roof over my head, I was still kind of going down a path that like was just not deserving of like the future I wanted. And so, yeah, I mean, I think just like by the parents' love and just like me talking about it more and like being more open about what my situation really was at the time, I started to accept it more. I started to, let my friends in more, be real with myself. And I don't know, there's just like so many situations that happen that are just like miracles. Like I started, like high school soccer was consistent, but then I started guest playing for teams more. And so when I started like excelling in those tournaments, I was like, okay, like maybe I can do this, And college has always been my goal. I've always wanted to go to college. Like I knew I had the ability. I just like needed the confidence in myself. So come senior year, I'm still living with this family. My best friend was named Janae, and it was her family. And they're just, they're helping me with college applications, And by this time, all my friends had already, like, committed to colleges. Okay. They committed, like, sophomore and junior year.
Right, because they're getting scouted, right? Through club teams.
Through club.
Okay.
And it was senior year. It was, like, I actually had graduated already.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated high school. I think the next weekend, I guest played for my friend's club team. It was I don't think it's a club anymore. Nomads.
Okay.
And so we were playing at UCSD down in San Diego at the college. And my coach, Brian McManus, knew my story, knew everything about me, knew my potential. I had like played with Nomads a little bit here and there. And on the field next to us was Cal State Fullerton. And what's funny, it's such a crazy world. So Damien was coached by Brian when Damien was a little boy.
Damien's the Cal State Fullerton coach.
Yeah, Damien Brown. Yeah. So I think at the end of the game, I think I'd like done pretty well that game, but Brian went to go talk to Damien and was like, hey D, like I know this girl, she's right here. She doesn't have a college offer wrapped up, but she just graduated high school. If you take her, if you believe in her, like if you give her a scholarship, because her financial situation isn't the best, like she'll do good for your school, like right, I promise.
Right. Take a look at this girl, right?
Yeah. Take
a look at this kid. She has a lot of good potential, right?
Yeah.
And and so then you went for a tryout?
So no tryout.
Okay.
So Damien actually called me like a week later and was like, hey, like do you want to come check out campus, basically? Like I talked to Brian, I believe him. Like Damien knew nothing about me.
Right.
Nothing about me.
Just like on the word of his former coach.
Yeah.
Right. He trusts his judgment, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So I went up to the campus and I loved it.
Crazy excited at this point though, right?
I mean, he was excited.
You were excited.
Oh, I was so excited.
Yeah, you had no idea exactly what's going to happen or what's going on, right?
Right. I had no idea. I mean, I didn't even know what it meant to like the college like process, you know,
Right.
because I never like, I don't know, I didn't think it was going to be realistic after a while, because like literally went my 4 years of high school without, you know, even like visiting any high school or any colleges or anything.
So one thing I don't understand though is you did really well in high school, right?
Yeah.
And you were like leading the league and your team in a lot of different categories, right?
Yeah.
But then you're still not getting in contact with the colleges because you're not really you're not really in the system, if you will, because like the club system.
Basically.
So even if you're like kicking butt on the
Yeah.
field in high school varsity, if you're not kind of in the system of club, then you just kind of fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's super unfortunate, especially for like, I don't know, inner city kids that like can't afford club like me. Like it's expensive, you know, travel, anything. And so high school soccer is I wouldn't say it's looked down upon, but it's just not on anyone's radar.
Got it.
It's literally just a fun experience.
It's not where they're getting scouted, right?
Right.
Got
No.
it. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate though.
Yeah. Right.
But hopefully that changes.
Okay. So then you went to the campus.
So I went to the campus.
Super
yeah.
excited.
I
Cal
loved
State
it.
Fullerton, okay.
You know, Damien offered me what he could. I think it was like a partial to full scholarship, and then said the next 3 years will be like taken care of. And he literally just went on word of mouth and offered me a scholarship right there. So I took it, and I'm pretty sure like I had like a week or 2 weeks back in San Diego, and then I was up for preseason, and I stayed in the dorms. I like had no idea who anybody was, like any of the other freshmen. They didn't know who I was.
Sure.
And then my 4 years at Fullerton were just amazing.
You had a great college experience there?
Oh, yeah. Just like the amount of growth I did from freshman year to senior year. Freshman year was amazing. I was up for like rookie of the year. I don't know, that was the first time where I felt like I could actually like live my dreams, you know? And that, I mean, my end goal was always to be like a professional soccer player. Like I told my teachers that when I was in like second grade, you know?
Right.
And just like the fact that, you know, despite any hardships I went through, like my path was still exactly how I saw it when I was like a little girl.
Right. You're going down the journey, there's a lot of these bumps along the way, but you're still going in the direction that you were hoping for.
Exactly.
Right.
So I was like, wow, like all these miracles are happening. Like all these, you know, despite any of the hardships, like I've, you know, not a straight line whatsoever, some curves, some bumps, everything, but like my dreams are still being fulfilled.
Right.
So like I'm gonna keep going.
I'm still on the path.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so freshman year of college was amazing. Up for like rookie of the year. Unfortunately I lost it to someone else who got drafted actually.
So this is the rookie of the year for the league?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the
so
league.
Like what, Big West? What is this?
Yeah, it's Big West.
Okay.
And then I mean the rest is just history. Like I feel like every year, like I kind of worked harder and harder.
Okay. Okay, so now you're in college. You're having a great. Your life has changed, right, for the better.
Oh yeah.
You're playing freshman, sophomore. You played all 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So then, at what point was it where you're able to start making these connections and have the dream of being a professional reality, right? Because at freshman year, you know, you're up, but you're not. It's not still tangible. It's not right there, right? So what
Definitely
was the
not.
next? Like, did you get in contact with an agent by the time you were a junior year, senior? How did that next transition happen?
No, actually, like up to senior year, I really had no idea how like the draft process worked.
Right.
I knew I wanted to play professionally, but I still didn't really know anybody else who played professionally or like.
Right. It's not like these girls from Cal State Fullerton that graduated before you were making pro.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I was really like.
You didn't talk to your coach about it? Be like,
no,
Coach, what's the next step? Like,
I definitely,
hey.
but again, like he didn't even have that many connections.
Right, because he's not having all these,
Right. He had some connections like overseas. I think he had one email from someone in the league. So like, I mean, after senior year, I emailed the coaches in the league. I just like asked around, looked online.
Coaches in what league?
The NWSL.
So you just got a mailing list of all the coaches, and
so you can like Google it.
Sure.
You kind of just
you're
online.
hustling and you're looking online. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got the emails of the coaches, and what are you doing? You're sending them a profile.
I sent them my profile, soccer resume, video. My email basically said like, "Hey, my name is Christina Burkenroad. I'm a senior at Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah.
I just graduated. I have high ambitions to playing professionally in the NWSL. Here's this and this.
Right.
Hope to hear from you soon."
Okay.
And
how was the response rate?
Yeah, no, they actually got back to me.
Okay, so all the coaches got back.
Most of them did. I think there was like one who didn't.
Okay.
But that was okay.
Okay.
And
you want to blow up their spot?
Yeah. No.
You don't? No?
No,
You're
no,
like,
no.
You never know, right? You don't want to burn any bridges,
I'm pretty sure
right? She might end up
maybe
becoming
some
like
New
the
York
U.S.
team,
women's
but
national team coach someday or something, right? You're like...
so many dreams. But, yeah, so...
Good response, and then what was
Good
the next?
response,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then, what was it?
So
How'd you
then-
take it from there?
So then you kind of, it's just a waiting game. So you like sign up for the draft
Right.
right after your season,
Right.
but then when you sign up, the draft is still like a couple months away. So it's
Yeah.
literally just a waiting game,
Okay.
you know? So by the time the draft came, about 2 weeks before, the professional coaches in the NWSL usually give the players a call if they're interested. So it's like a little interview.
Right.
So I got a call from 3 teams, which
Wow.
I was stoked about, but still there was something in me, like it's still not guaranteed.
Right.
It made me so happy that, and just like so grateful that they were even interested in me.
3 NWSL teams contacted you.
Yeah.
So what is it because you were doing really well as a junior and senior, where you're getting accolades? And
Yeah.
So basically, your kind of resume spoke for itself. Is that
Right.
What?
So it's all about the stats.
What if you hadn't contacted them though? You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of hard to know, but were you already on their radar now that looking back, based on your
I don't know
your
if I was
stats?
on their radar.
Okay.
I really don't. I
not-
don't know.
Because it's not like there's all these tons of scouts, right?
Right.
For
I
these
do
teams,
think
right?
emailing them helped my chances
Sure.
a bit. I mean, they obviously, saw my email,
Yeah.
saw my name.
Means you want it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When they looked on the stats sheet all over it, like, just on like the college board in America, my name probably stuck out just because they're like, oh, I saw this in an email.
Okay.
Here's this,
Okay.
So I would assume that emailing did help, but I mean, I can't.
Okay. But
Tell for
stats-wise,
sure.
where were you, in your graduating class?
In my graduating class,
were you like,
I mean,
were you
some
top
I was
50 in the nation in certain things, or what were you?
Yeah,
At,
let's see. It's kind of hard to remember now.
Okay.
In goals, I was top 25.
Okay.
In assists, I was top 40, I
Okay.
believe.
Got
In game-winning goals, I was top 50.
Okay.
I mean, Big West isn't like the most challenging, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's
still D1.
still D1. Yeah, it's still super competitive.
Right.
I think that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then draft night comes.
Draft night comes.
Did you attend or no?
No, so I didn't go.
Okay.
I couldn't like afford a ticket or anything.
Where was that year?
It was in Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, so actually draft day was so casual.
Right. Was it televised?
It was on YouTube.
It was on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're watching YouTube at this time?
So I literally just woke up, made my coffee,
Okay.
just put my laptop on the table, was sitting on the couch in my pajamas, like so casual.
Okay. By yourself?
By myself, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I figured it'd be like, a while. I don't know, the draft usually goes a few hours. And the previous days before the draft, my mind was going like so confident in one direction, and then the next minute it was just like
up and down, basically.
just such doubt, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just like kind of sitting there drinking my coffee, watching the first round. First round came, I didn't get picked. That was okay. I figured I wouldn't.
How many were in the first round? So like 20?
10.
10?
Yeah,
That's
so
it?
it's
Okay.
10.
It's really,
four groups of 10.
Okay.
So it's 40 people in the
40
country.
only in
And if you
really
think about
tight
it,
then,
there's, hundreds and hundreds of D1
Right.
teams in America.
Right. Yeah, you
with,
could be top 50 in the country and you're still not going to make it, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not in their mind,
Yeah,
right? Top
exactly.
40. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And so, so I remember like getting up. I think I made more coffee or made breakfast or something. And second round was going, and
were you super nervous at this time?
I
now?
was pretty nervous.
You were
yeah.
nervous. Okay.
I was getting there.
Okay. What were you hoping? So you just said you weren't disappointed that much that you weren't in the top 10, right?
Right.
But what were your expectations? You're like hoping for just anywhere?
I mean, I personally thought, because growing up, I had never been the first round. I don't know. I never thought I deserved any of like major success. Just
Okay.
I don't know. I think what I went through in high school just really messed up my mentality for a while, and it made me feel like I lost years of practice.
Okay, got it. So it affected your confidence.
It did.
Right, yeah, you're not in the club system. So,
Right,
okay,
right.
So delayed your progress a little.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I thought I was gonna go third or fourth round.
Third or fourth round. Okay.
But I mean, then there was another side of me. I was like, but my stats speak for themselves.
it.
I had great stats my senior year. I had good stats my junior year.
Okay.
So I was hoping it'd get me somewhere.
Okay. But you weren't like thinking, hey, I might not get drafted, and then preparing yourself just for that disappointment?
Oh, I was.
You were? Okay.
Yeah, I was for sure.
Okay.
I was for sure.
Okay.
I remember like, okay, second round, top 4 picks happened, and then this 15th pick of the second round, I remember exactly actually. It was like, and the Orlando Pride like choose Christina Burkenroad.
That's awesome.
And once I heard my name, I just like I was just kind of quiet, you know.
Okay.
I just looked at the computer and I was like, wait. And then my phone started blowing up with like my friends' text messages. And a minute later, like Tom Sermani, the head coach of the Orlando Pride, called me, and it was just so surreal, you know. I mean, that moment was something I was dreaming of and saw so perfectly since I was a little girl. And it just like I immediately reflected on everything I had gone through, from, you know, playing pickup with older guys when I was like a 9-year-old girl. You know, it reminded me of like, you know, moving back across the country to play in high school and work my hardest on the field despite any hardship that was going off the field. You know, it just like reminded me of my why, of my purpose. And although like all odds were against me, you know, to get drafted, I made it, you know, and that was like, it was just the moment I saw so perfectly as a little girl. And so it was a dream come true. Like, it really was. And like,
did you have an agent at that time?
No, not at that time.
And then your phone starts blowing up with all these random guys calling you saying, hey, you need representation?
I got a couple agents, yeah. But again, like, I felt like I still knew nothing about the process of like what even was going to happen after this.
Yeah.
And so so I didn't really have an agent my first year at Orlando.
Okay.
I actually didn't get an agent until I went to Norway to go overseas. Because that was the first time where I was like, okay, I need to understand this contract. I need to understand like navigation, the money situation.
Okay, well, with NWSL, do you need an agent in terms of, or is it pretty straightforward where there isn't really any negotiating? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
It's straightforward. And you just have to either you sign it or you don't sign it.
Right.
What happens if you don't sign it? Then are you available for? You're not available for any other NWSL team, is what I would imagine, right?
Right. So teams have players' rights.
Right.
And
so they have to give it up.
They have to give it up.
Right.
Right. And unfortunately, there are circumstances where NWSL teams have players' rights, and they won't give it up, and so they can't go to any other team in the league, and they're forced to go overseas.
And they have to go overseas, right?
Right. Which is, I mean, unfortunate. You know, I strongly feel if a person, you know, if a player doesn't want to be at that team, don't hold their rights.
Right.
Especially, I mean, we don't make that much money. We don't have that much opportunity. Like,
it's not
don't hold us back.
It's not a bargaining chip, right, from a player's perspective necessarily.
Right.
It's like, hey, if circumstances or family doesn't work out and I can't move all the way across the country or something, and it just doesn't work out, but this other team is willing to, you know, sign me, then, you know, kind of let me, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly.
Okay. So then you got signed, and so how did that process happen? Did you fly over there and you know, and visit the facilities and the administration? How did that work?
Yeah, so there was 2 other rookies that got drafted to Orlando Pride.
Okay.
So, and we were all from Southern California.
Oh wow, okay.
And so we all flew out there.
Went straight to Disney World.
Straight, yeah. How'd you know? No, I'm just kidding. No, so we actually landed at night. We were both like pretty nervous, but like super excited just to get started. All 3 of you guys were like
met at the airport and kind of went together and kind of knew each other on the plane?
So 2 of us did.
2 of you,
Me and Danny Weatherhall, who's still super good friend. And so we flew over together, landed at night. We had a driver pick us up, like their driver pick us up. And it was our first, like, I don't know, professional experience, I guess. Yeah. It was just so
usually
surreal.
Just like your friend or whatever, like, hey, waiting on the curb or whatever, right?
Versus like Orlando Pride.
With the sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we get
that
there.
Moment yet, so yeah, we'll
I'll pick you up.
Yeah, we'll live through it.
Yeah, and I just remember like driving to our apartment. They like sent us photos of like, this is where you'll be living. This is accommodation. This is everything. Super nice apartments. Just like so professional, so like well run. Everything was perfect. So structured. Really made you feel like a professional. Right. Which is, I mean, huge. And remember driving to our apartment and just like the sunset was unreal. Like it was just so beautiful. It was one of those moments where you're kind of just like, you kind of take a step back and you're like, okay, this is gonna be good. Like I'm excited for this. And so we get there, and then, you know, we claim our room. We get to know each other.
So that all three of you are in the same apartment?
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's a three-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty spacious.
So you jumped into the master bedroom right away? Or what?
Actually, no. The master bedroom was like a little too big for me.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, because it's like one master bedroom and then two small ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the other girls got the master bedroom.
Yep.
Okay.
One of the other girls did.
But you guys aren't paying rent, right?
No, they pay for us.
Okay.
Our living was covered.
Okay.
And so the next day we like meet some of our other teammates, like Tony Presley, Maddie Evans, a couple others, and we kind of just like go kick the ball, you know, get the jet lag out of our legs, and we go kick the ball around, go like drive around Orlando.
Yeah.
Just a cool experience. And then training camp started, I think like maybe a week later or so.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a big jump from Cal State Fullerton. I think for me, just the biggest thing was the speed of play. And
yeah, that's what they usually say. It's just faster, right?
Oh, so much faster.
All the girls are athletic, right? All the female, they're all pros, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the majority of them on Orlando had so much experience because it was actually a first-year team. Okay. And so, when they brought people over, they wanted, obviously like experienced players, older players. So there was a good, I learned so much. I think, so I was actually the last rookie to get signed. They kind of just sign you when they feel like, so essentially going there, it was a tryout.
Got it.
So even when you get drafted, you're not guaranteed a spot. You still have to try out. They still have to want
make the team, right?
Right.
If you don't make the team and then you haven't signed the contract, then it's like you had a good 2-week stay in Orlando, but
exactly.
You're off.
But then, so yeah, at the end of the day, it's like a business. It's like a job,
it's a business, sure. Okay.
And so, yeah, it actually took me a while to get. I think it took me 2 months to get really accustomed to the speed of play.
Okay. So for the 2 months you had not signed your contract yet?
No.
Oh wow. So there was still I guess a feeling of unsettledness then, right?
Oh, for sure.
You were well aware of this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. And
what took you so long? What was the problem?
Dude, again, my confidence.
Oh, is your confidence?
Yeah,
it's
again.
not the athleticism, right?
Right.
Because you're, 5'10"? You're, size-wise, you're good, speed and all that. So it was the confidence?
Yeah.
So your touch was just off or something, or what?
Just my technical abilities were fine. It was 100% my mind.
Okay.
My mind, and just I knew my abilities, I knew my potential. Okay. But it was comparison almost. It was I looked at players like Alex Morgan. I looked at all these older players.
Was she already there by this time? Or?
I think she came a week into training camp or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so those level of players,
just those level of players, yeah.
Were they just blowing you away, or was
no,
just,
not skill wise? It was just
reputation and who they were. And
yeah. It kind of just threw me off a bit. Okay, yeah, it intimidated me a little bit, and so I wasn't playing my game.
Okay.
And then after a while, I started to build up to my game again. I really worked on my mentality. I started meditating every day, 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night. And really just, worked on my mentality again. And that's something throughout my entire career since I was a little girl, I've visualized, and I've taken visualization very seriously. Because, again, my mental aspect is just the first thing that goes down,
Okay.
So, when they offered me a contract, I was a kid at Disneyland. I was so happy. I was so thankful. And then... let's see, that's still first season. I got in a few games. I feel like I did well. I don't think I did as well as I could have, but towards the end of the season, I felt super confident. Okay. I felt in a line with the team. I was making good friends. Everything was perfect. So offseason came around, and I had never worked that hard in my life. Physically, on my strength, on my technical abilities, everything.
You came back home for that?
Came back home, yeah, for a good 4 or 5 months. Stayed in San Diego, and then a bit up here. And just worked every day. Went back to Orlando in March, and felt so confident. And I really felt like I deserved it. I did super well in the preseason games. I really just felt like that spot should have been mine.
Okay.
Or could have been mine.
So
or
when
at
you're
least
saying
like,
that spot, you're talking about like a starting forward position?
Maybe like not starting consistently, but just like
being in the rotation.
Being in the rotation, yeah. Because I knew who I was, like my
Right.
teammates were. I respected them 100%.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt good about my game.
Right. At least, and being able to, because the entire squad's not traveling for away games, right? So
Right.
there's only extra, like 3, 4, 5 players? Or
I think there was like 2 or 3.
2 or 3 that they
Yeah.
travel additionally that goes with the team.
Yeah.
So you wanted to at least be in that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In that rotation, okay?
Definitely.
Okay. And how are you doing during the practices?
I was doing good.
Okay.
I was doing really well. When I first got back, I was doing really well. I was doing well fitness-wise, scrimmage-wise, practice-wise, like everything. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like as the season went on, things kind of shifted from the first season. We got new players coming in.
Okay.
We got Marta. We just like there was a lot of trades, and so it just I wasn't getting the playing time I wanted.
How many players are on the squad, the full team, like during practice?
So Ross. Oh,
yeah.
So we have a lot of training players come in.
Okay.
So training, I think there's like 28.
Okay.
But
during
roster,
training,
there's like I think there's like 23.
Okay, so rosters there's 23, but all 23 are under contract.
Yeah.
So even though you're like the 22nd, 23rd player, you're under contract, but you're just not getting any PT
Right.
on the games.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But then every athlete wants to, right? Even though
Yeah.
you're getting paid, you still want to compete and play, right?
Exactly.
Not just during practice.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so this was actually the time Alex Morgan was in Lyon still.
Right.
And I think it was about like 4 months into season. I knew she was coming back, and I was
Right.
super excited for her. The team was doing well, actually. But I knew, like, as that forward position,
Right.
I was the striker that was going to get, like out. Like, they were going to...
You're the odd man out?
I was the odd man out.
Okay,
So
what were you guys running? Like a 4-4-2? Or how many
it
forwards?
switched up, but
Okay.
yeah, at
Like
the
two
end, it was
forwards,
like
kinda?
a 4-4-2.
Okay, so basically 2 forwards.
Yeah.
And you already have Marta occupying one spot.
Yeah, and then they had a bunch of good forwards. I
Okay.
mean, they just have full offense.
So,
yeah.
but you were thinking that once Alex Morgan comes back, you're going to be the odd forward out and then
Right.
get out of the rotation.
Get out of the rotation, and like basically my contract would end too.
Got it.
So I would have been that 24th player on
Right.
the roster of 23.
Got it.
And it was unfortunate, but like I mean, I completely understood the situation, and my coaches were very straight up about it.
Okay. So you were in the loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tom, he was like, "You're welcome to stay. Obviously, accommodation. We know like your past. We know like everything. You're welcome to stay and continue to train with us." And
So then you would have been able to stay and train with the team.
yeah,
You would have been able to still live in your housing.
Right.
But you wouldn't have received a salary.
Right.
Is that the only difference?
Right.
Okay. It's a big
And-
difference, but you're not receiving your salary.
Right,
Okay.
right. And I don't know. It's just hard because, like, maybe if I came from a family that had a lot of money, I would have stayed and just trained. But unfortunately, I didn't. And so I had to, like,
You need to
go
yeah.
somewhere that I would get money, that I
Okay.
would get paid.
You weren't able to, like, maybe transfer to another NWSL team or,
So I tried. You can put your name in,
waiver?
like, yeah.
Okay.
It's basically like a little website thing. And other teams can pick you. I think
Right.
it's like within 7 days or something.
Yeah.
And if they don't pick you, then you're kind of just like a free agent. Like
Right.
you're just, out. They just kind of throw you out.
Right. They're going to pick up your rights, right?
Right.
Player
Right.
rights during that time. Yeah.
Right. And it was kind of an awkward time in the season. It was like mid-season, and so there
Yeah.
weren't many trades going on. There
Yeah.
weren't many, empty roster spots. So, again, I understood the situation.
Right. Damn, Alex Morgan coming back in the middle of the season.
I know.
There's all these implications behind that I didn't realize as a fan just reading about these, U.S. women's national team players that are playing abroad.
Yeah.
And then once their season ends, they come back and join NWSL, right? Which
Yeah.
a lot of the players did, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, she's
A
not the
ton
only
of them
one.
did. Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, she brings fans to the stadium. Obviously, she's an amazing player. And so, again, completely understood the situation.
Yeah.
And so, But honestly, yeah, I was like a little embarrassed. Like my ego had been hurt a little bit. My pride had been crushed. So I was just like, I was at the point where I was like, okay, I need to get out. I need to get out. You know, I feel like this is the situation telling me like I need to do something else.
Okay.
So I was talking to some of the girls. I was talking to Ashlyn Harris. I was talking to Kaylin Kyle. And, you know, I basically was looking for guidance. I was like, you know what, like, you know how I play, you know my style, you know, like my mentality, like what do you think I should do? Like basically reaching out for help.
Okay.
And they were like, dude, go overseas, you know, like you're young, you are single, you know, you don't have anything like holding you back. Yeah,
you're
go
free.
overseas, like
free in the wind.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Okay.
And then
the world is your oyster, right? You have all these options, right? Unlimited options for you, right?
Yeah, so they completely changed my perspective on it. I didn't feel stuck anymore.
Right.
You know, and so at that point I was reaching out to different players on Orlando and it's just like, hey, do you guys know of agents?
Any
like
contacts, kind of,
and so I got in touch with one agent, Nils Christensen, who's actually a very popular agent in the women's league.
Yeah, he sounds very Norwegian.
Yeah. I think he's
definitely
Swedish,
from
maybe?
Scandinavia.
Yeah.
He's from Scandinavia though, right? Niels?
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So I emailed him and I just told him my situation.
Okay.
I was like, I need to get out as fast as possible. Like, please let me know what you have.
Yeah.
And he got back to me within like an hour. Wow. And I was like already so impressed. And he was, you know, the next day he gave me like a list of teams. He was like, well, this team needs something, this team needs something. And all of a sudden, like all these other doors were opening. And I didn't feel so stressed. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just like, I knew I wanted to go overseas at some point in my soccer career, but I didn't think it would happen like that.
So early.
Right. But again, I mean, throughout my whole life, I feel like I've had this plan, and then all of a sudden, like, life just throws a curveball, and it's like, okay, you're still going to get to where you want to go.
Just not in the way that you
thought.
Just
not in the way that I thought, you know?
Right. It's the way God works, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so, yeah, he gave me 2 teams, and then I kind of just like did some research on them. One of the teams, the team I signed for, actually was willing to fly me out before actually going there.
Okay.
So I thought it was really cool of them. I like respected them for sure, because I mean, that's an expensive flight, you know.
As in willing to fly you out before signing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Willing to fly me out before signing, just to like for
trial,
me to get a feel.
Right. See if you want it, right?
Right.
Other one would be like, you have to sign and then we'll do it.
Right.
Okay.
And I had never been to Europe. I'd never been like out of America otherwise. So like I was kind of freaked out. I was kind of scared.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Plus you're like how old at that time?
Like 21.
Yeah.
21, 22.
Okay. Yeah. At that time, most people just go to Tijuana and then get drunk and then come back, and that's about their
honestly though.
foreign abroad program. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. And so ended up going to Norway on that trial. You know, I really liked how they treated me. It was like such a cool life experience. During that week stay I was there, they like, you know, took me to the mountains, took me on like this cool boat ride, and then like had training later that day, and it was just so different than anything I've ever experienced. Just the culture there, the food, and
so how long was that initial stay?
So it was a week.
A week, wow.
Yeah.
So you got a week to explore, travel, and get your feel.
Yep, and you know, training every day, and you know, at training it was a pretty good level. It was nothing like Orlando Pride and professionalism, or just like
because Orlando Pride's
names.
They're one of the biggest clubs with overall fans and attendance and brand new stadium, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was just asking the coach in Norway all these questions, like, I guess like tangible questions, like how many fans you got, you know, what is this like? And I just realized at the end of my stay, like, okay, like comparison kills. Just because you were at Orlando doesn't mean this experience is any less good for me, you know, it's any worse for me.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because what was the stadium like size and capacity, you know? Fans?
Yeah, so the men's stadium was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It was similar to the Orlando stadium, just like I think it fit 50,000. Like, it was pretty
50,000?
big. Or maybe it was like 30,000.
Okay, either
What's
way,
normal?
it's huge.
Yeah.
Normal,
it was a good stadium.
MLS are in the 20, 30,000.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it was like
that.
30,000.
Okay,
yeah.
that's huge though. It wasn't like a college, like because a lot of the women's game, right, it's like 5,000, which is like a good, right? So it won't appear like empty if 2,000-3,000 show up, right?
Yeah.
But this was large.
The men's stadium was huge.
And the women's did not play in that stadium though.
No.
Okay.
No. I was so excited because that's where they brought me on my trial.
Sure.
That's where we trained. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing.
Right.
But no, we actually trained inside at this. It was kind of like this. It was kind of like a just like a indoor facility. Yeah. And I mean, it had some seating, had pretty weird lighting, dim lighting. But when we trained, we actually shared it with like 5 other like U15 boys teams.
Okay.
It's just not glamorous.
Okay.
Like, we're still training and stuff,
Right.
and it's still a great practice.
I think that's the right word. It's not glamorous, right?
It's not glamorous whatsoever.
Right. Okay. But this is an indoor facility, and they have fields in there?
Yeah, so they have one big field.
One big turf or
turf
grass?
field.
Turf field?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And so you're sharing that with other youth teams?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in a lot of European countries, no matter the age group, like, the boys get priority. Like, men get priority.
Got it.
And so that was kind of like a wake-up call, too, going there and just, like, being put last.
Sure.
Yeah, so
in the U.S. that wouldn't happen, right?
No.
Like if you're on Orlando Pride, they're not going to put the youth boys team ahead in terms of priority on practice fields and things like that. Right? That would never happen.
I don't think the boys would ever be on our practice fields.
Right? Same accommodations, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was just a shift in perspective, and it was something to get used to.
Right.
It wasn't wrong. It wasn't right.
Yeah,
It wasn't
it's a culture shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Culture difference. Okay.
Exactly. And that was the first time I also lived alone. They got me my own apartment. Again, they like all accommodations on them, which was great.
How was that? That must have been a pretty shocking
It was
difference,
weird.
Right?
Yeah, no.
Old building, kind of small.
It was small. It wasn't new. It wasn't old though. It was just like a pretty normal apartment.
Okay. So wasn't it like in a castle or anything then, right?
No, that's Prague. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But that was just like, the first 4 months in my life where I really like felt alone. I mean, the time difference from here was 9 hours.
Right.
During the winter in Norway, it was dark. I mean, the only time it was like light outside was from like 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay.
And
outside
so
of that, it's dark.
It's dark, yeah, outside of that.
Okay.
And like again, that was something to get used to coming from Southern California and Florida, Right. So I think like emotionally, I was just in a weird place in Norway. The league itself was really good. I think I grew a lot, but I don't think I was in the right mental state to really perform at my best again. And so at the end of my contract, I was just like, I'm gonna go home. Okay. I'm sorry, Okay. But I mean, looking back at it now, I definitely like grew so much just from even taking the risk and like going overseas in the first place. Yeah. So don't regret it at all. But after that was the first time where like I really didn't have anything going for me. Like I came back from Norway, went home, stayed home for a bit, didn't know what I wanted. I like deep down knew I wanted to play, but I was pretty like depressed after Norway, just like getting accustomed to like the weather, the culture. It was just so different than what I was used to. And so, yeah, going home was just like I needed to recenter myself and refocus. And then a month later, like that's when Prague happened.
So you had a month downtime and back home.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how did Prague happen? Your agent contacted you?
No. So I actually, I let him go just for, I don't know, personal reasons. We just weren't connecting right. I wasn't comfortable in Norway. Just certain things we did, we weren't on the same page. So I was agentless. I was teamless.
Wow.
It was pretty scary. So I have a friend, Megan, who plays at AC Sparta. And she played in Orlando. So we crossed paths. And when I went to Norway, she actually went to AC Sparta. She moved to Prague. And there were some other foreigners there too. When I got back to America, she reached out to me and said, hey, like, we just had a striker leave. Are you free? Like, what are you doing? What's your plan?
Wow, that's awesome.
And I was actually questioning it so much. I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to Europe, like, I don't know if I want to go back to overseas. That was quite a culture change. That was a shift in everything.
Okay.
And I was honestly just like scared of having the same experience as I did in Norway. And so, we were kind of just like talking about it for the next couple weeks. And I eventually got in touch with Sparta's management, and I, emailed them. I was like, hey, like, I'm friends with Megan. Are you guys looking for a player? And they immediately got back to me. I sent them my resume, sent them my video, and they were like, yeah, like, we want you. You don't have to come on trial. We'll sign you. We'll like fly you out, everything. So literally again, like a week later, I was on a plane going to Prague. Here we go again. And I get there in January, and I mean, just the professionalism from like picking me up at the freeway, taking me to my flat. I had 2 other roommates, American roommates, which was just so nice living with other people. And yeah, so it's just like been from there. I've loved it. Yeah.
And what's the level like over there? Because now you're at one of the top teams in the country, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are competing in Champions League?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we won the double, which is like we won league last year, and also won a separate tournament that involves our league. Yeah, right, the cup.
Right. Like a UEFA, or like the UEFA Cup or whatever, domestic cup that they have.
Domestic.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And so that was a super cool experience in itself. And then when I got back to Prague in July, we just long preseason, and then we ended up playing in Champions League, which was the coolest experience. So it's kind of like the College Cup when you like sit as a team and like pick your draw, or like watch your draw.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. So we're just watching on like Champions League website, and we get Ajax in Amsterdam. That's like a legendary team. So we were all super excited because we felt like, they're beatable. They're not like a Leon or like anything like that. So we for sure, we were confident. We were good. And the first round, so it's in 2 legs, so home and away. Yeah. So we go to Amsterdam first. Just such a cool experience. I mean, just like knowing that I'm playing in Champions League is like any soccer player's dream.
Sure.
So yeah, we get to Amsterdam. We are in a super nice hotel. Like, we felt like royalty. We go to the Ajax's training facility, and we train that evening. The next day we play, and unfortunately we ended up losing 2-0. I don't think we were playing our game necessarily. We had multiple opportunities right in front of goal to score. Unfortunately we didn't, and I think defensively we could have been a little more compact, but that was something we were going to bring on to the next game.
Okay.
So we get home from Amsterdam back to Prague, and I think we have like 2 weeks in between when they come to us.
And you guys are still in season though, right? You're still
playing
so
we're still playing our games.
Your league games, okay?
Yeah.
And then the Champions League game is on, what is it, like in midweek?
Yeah,
it's like
it
on
was.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
So it's on a Wednesday?
I don't remember what day.
It's kind of like the men's game where they have their but then it's like midweek instead of on a weekend game.
Yeah, I remember it being midweek.
Okay.
I just don't remember what day specifically.
Okay. So when that's happening though, how focused are you guys on your league games? Because you guys are just running over teams during your league, right? So you guys are just kind of more focused on that upcoming second leg of the Champions League game that's coming up?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not going to lie. It was pretty hard to stay focused on our league games because we are all just trying to prepare for the Champions League game.
Okay. And you guys get paid for that too, right? You guys, like, there's a purse, right? If you win, right?
If we win, yeah.
If you win, right?
Yeah.
It's not as if it, So
I feel like when you're playing women's soccer, like every battle counts, you know?
Right.
So
there's a financial incentive.
Yeah, there really is.
Okay.
There really is.
Okay, so how did that home game go?
So it was so good at first. We had such a big audience. It was in the men's stadium, which was so fun.
Okay. What was the crowd like? How many people are we talking that come to the champion? Is it a larger crowd for the Champions League matches?
For sure, larger crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 5,000.
Okay.
5,000.
So it's a
a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, turnout, atmosphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew what we had to work on. We knew defensively we had to stay compact. We knew we had to keep attacking, and because they scored 2 at home, we had to score.
Sure. Yeah, because even if you score like 1-0, you'll lose, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It has to be at least 2-0.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, we were playing our game. The game started. We were just offensively just pressing.
Okay.
And we were going at goal so much, and I ended up scoring, I think in like the 20th minute or something. And just after that, it was just, we knew we had it. We were like, all right, let's keep going. Let's keep getting these goals. We were combining so well. Like, we felt like so confident in our own game. And then at halftime, I don't know what happened. Just the second half, we came out, and I think defensively we just turned off for 2 minutes. And in 2 minutes, they ended up scoring 2 goals.
Oh, wow.
And it was just, I think after that, we just lost all hope.
Yeah.
We were just, we kept fighting, obviously,
the only
but
way you
like,
can win at that point, you have to win like 4-2 or something, right?
Yeah.
Because they're scoring on away, and that counts. That's the tiebreaker, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, so that was my first experience in Champions League. It was a great experience in all. I do think we could have beat them, and I am hopefully looking forward to playing again next year in Champions League.
So that was your first experience in Champions League?
That was my first experience.
That was the first match?
Yeah.
First matchup? Okay.
First round.
That was first round.
So unfortunately we got out. Slavia, it's really good for our league. They're actually still in it. They're in the 8.
Okay.
So
they're still in it right now?
They're still in it,
okay.
Yeah. So when we get back to Prague, I think they have a game in like 2 weeks or something.
Okay.
So, I'm stoked for them.
Right.
Jealous, but...
Right. It's kind of a double-edged sword because they're your rivals, but at the same time, they give respect to your domestic league as well, right? The further
exactly.
they go, right?
It just looks good on us,
Yeah.
Hopefully it just brings more foreigners to that league in the future, so it gets a little more competitive from top to bottom,
Do the domestic players in the league, the Czech Republic, do they get along with the foreigners, or is there like a chip on their shoulder? You know what I mean?
So
how's that dynamic?
So it's good. I feel like our team is very, very friendly. All the Czech girls are pretty eager, or not all of them. Some of them can't speak English whatsoever.
Okay.
But a lot of them are very open to learning and want to learn.
Right.
And we just have a good communication. I think the foreigners on our team, the Americans on Sparta, are just very good, open people that want to also get to know the Czech culture. So yeah, the Czech girls definitely don't have a chip on their shoulder, but I can imagine that it gets pretty annoying at practice when we have to explain a drill in English, re-explain everything in English. I'm sure it slows down the pace a little bit.
Sure. Is it the coach that's bilingual, or do you guys have an interpreter on the side that's
so
translating?
The coach actually only speaks Czech,
okay.
Unfortunately. So the girls usually translate for us.
Got it.
Yeah, but if we don't understand, we usually just either go to the end of the line and just watch, or we're hey, we need to explain this more because I don't get it, but luckily they're pretty good about really explaining to us and taking time to do so.
Right. Is there a designated player type situation out there, or no? So are there reserved spots that are limited for foreign players like you guys?
Yeah. So so I think you can have max 5 foreigners. So we filled our cap. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are those usually positions? Are they the attacking forwards? Is it the Chinese basketball league where each of the foreign players are centers and point guards?
But I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
Really? Is that
Yeah.
Is that just for fun, or just
no,
that's
they're the ones that are tall and huge and athletic, right?
Okay. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Not all the Chinese players are going to become like 7-foot athletic, you know, African Americans that just dunk on everybody.
Yeah. For real. Just all that power.
Yeah.
No, so like there's not like a designated anything. I do think they primarily try to get offensive players.
Right.
But we actually have one girl that plays center back and outside back.
Okay.
So
the other ones are offensive oriented though?
Yeah.
They're all offensive players?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would imagine, I'm pretty sure designated players are usually offensive, but like also it just depends what like that team needs. So it all depends.
So how's the lifestyle out there in Prague?
Lifestyle's really cool. So it's a very progressive city. It's growing culturally and everything. Prague it's a very like, I don't know, like hip crowd. Like very artsy, very culturally enthusiastic. They love the men's team. I feel like everybody loves like AC Sparta, the men's team. They like the women's team too, but most people don't like know it exists.
Are the uniforms
really?
the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's cool.
Okay. So then when you're wearing your uniform, is there confusion? They just think you're like a fan of the men's team or something at times?
Basically.
And then you tell them, no, I play on the women's team?
Yeah, and then they usually get pretty like psyched about it. They're like, oh, wow. Like, but yeah, it's cool. So it's, I mean, that city itself has like so much history, just from, you know, what happened in World War II, I think, with Hitler and stuff. But yeah, no, it's really fun. There's a ton of museums. The coffee shop culture, I think, is like the best in the world.
Okay. Coffee or hashish?
I don't know. I don't know.
Coffee? Is it coffee or
it's
is
coffee.
it like? Oh, okay.
What is hashish?
You know, like when you go to like Amsterdam, the coffee shops are actually smoking in there, and so it's like the weed culture. No. Okay.
No. Nah.
Okay.
That'd be cool though. That would be cool.
Okay.
I do want to go visit Amsterdam again, like off soccer though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just like also just like how Prague eats and like the health aspect of it is so big. I mean, there's so many health food stores. There's like, I feel like all the restaurants are like health conscious, which is so cool.
So are you going out with your roommates all the time and exploring the city together? Is that how you guys normally do it, or you?
Yeah. So I think at first, like when we first got there, we did so more so. My day routine. So I actually have 2 other jobs there too, just because we had so much time. Like we have so much time.
Okay.
We train for 2 hours a day.
Okay.
And then.
This is in the morning?
In the evening, and then
you train in the evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because most of the girls have jobs, like have actual jobs. Yeah. Like real jobs.
Okay.
And so Tuesday and Thursdays we actually have a morning training from 9 to 10, and then Monday, Tuesday, training from 5 to 7 as well. Wednesdays we have off. Thursday, Friday, 5 to 7 as well.
Okay.
And then games on the weekends.
Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what kind of jobs are you guys doing? And what are your jobs, first of all?
Yeah, so I nanny this one little Czech boy, and he's so cute.
Okay.
That's like,
So
I think once or twice.
Au pair was a live-in, so you're not an au pair, right? So you just go there.
I literally just go there, go to his house. Like his mom is usually there. I just like hang out with them, really.
How old is he?
He's 2.
Okay.
I think his mom just wants him to hear more English.
Okay.
Most of the parents are doing that nowadays in Prague.
So she's asking you to just speak English to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do that.
She doesn't want your broken Czech?
No. I've tried speaking Czech to her, and she's like, stop. Just stop. And then on the side, I actually work so it's called Prague English Football School. And it's just like basically coaching little kids. You just go to like all these different primary schools, and you coach them for like a couple hours a day.
In English?
In English.
Okay, so basically you're utilizing your English to as a nanny,
kind
of partially, but then you're also like an English teacher, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Supplementing your income.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And I mean, you're able to make savings out there, unlike NWSL, where you have that 5 months off kind of deal, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I have a pretty full schedule, but I also, you know, I want to do these things. You know, it's not like I have to do them.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And I mean, like, I still, even besides that, I still have so much time to like work on myself and like do things to like take care of myself. So yeah, it's cool. I really feel like I've established like an actual life over there. But yeah, me and my friends do go out in the city quite a bit and just like explore, walk around.
Right.
It's so fun. I definitely advise like everyone to go there.
Really?
Yeah.
So then when you guys hang out, you guys stand out like athletes, or you guys just blend in?
No, I think we just blend in.
You guys blend in?
I mean, there are some places that we definitely stand out. Like if we just walk in like an empty coffee shop, it's like 5, pretty like athletic looking girls, strong personalities. But I mean, if we're just like walking down the road, there's so many tourists there. There's like so many different kinds of people.
Yeah.
That we don't really stand out that much. I wish we did, but
what about what do we have to look forward to in the future? What are your next upcoming plans, and what are you looking to do in the next 6 months to a year?
Yeah, so I still have 6 months on my contract for Sparta, which I'm looking forward to just finishing the season strong. And after that, honestly, it's pretty unknown. I've wanted to take, like, I love individual coaching, and I love health, and I love passing on my knowledge of like my journey and my mentality and whatnot. And I just hope that I hope to like share my story with people in places, and hopefully just like inspire the youth, so I think I just want to like come back to America and like share my experiences with people, and just like some motivational speaking here and there. Just continue to coach, continue to learn the game. Maybe I'll get contracted somewhere else.
How far along do you anticipate your career? What are you thinking?
I think it's just till it doesn't feel right anymore.
Okay.
Till another opportunity comes up.
In the foreseeable future, you're still gonna continue to play professionally, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely keeping my options open. Not sure where. I would love to land in America again.
What's one of the dream teams? Let's visualize this and see if we can make it happen. What are you thinking in terms of, do you want to come back to NWSL?
Yeah, I do. I would love to. I mean, Orlando Pride would be amazing again. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
I think Portland would be amazing. I even thought Houston would be really cool too. Really, at this point, I'm not going to be picky. I feel like you can't really be too picky.
I feel like you're picking these top teams with huge, great fan culture too, right?
I know.
Yeah, those 3 teams are definitely stand out in that sense, right?
Yeah. For sure. And I think altogether, I think every year, the fan participation is growing, so that's amazing, and I hope it continues to do so. But yeah, I don't know where the future will take me, but I know it'll be good, and I know where I am, I'm meant to be where I am. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for coming here and sharing us about your life and your journey thus far.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Wish you the best of luck in the future as well.
Cool, thank you.
All right, thanks guys for joining us on the Urban Pitch podcast, the beautiful game of life.